I'm on vacation, but this just couldn't wait. Cybersecurity company FuzzingLabs has accused another company, Gecko Security, a Y Combinator-backed startup, of stealing their security research, even filing for CVEs and not giving them credit for it. If true, this stings because in the security research space, I'm sure you have had incidences, or just in any industry, you have had incidences where you worked really hard on producing a project and then somebody else took credit for it. But Gecko Security has a very different version. They have denied any wrongdoing, and they're saying that these allegations are nothing more than a misunderstanding over the disclosure process. None of this was intentional. So what's going on? I'm Ax Sharma, security researcher and journalist. Let's dive in. According to the company, Gecko filed CVEs for 2 vulnerabilities that FuzzingLabs researchers had previously identified. Now furthermore, FuzzingLabs says it has irrefutable evidence of Gecko Security copying its work. So if we take a look at the tweet by FuzzingLabs, it's pretty serious allegations here. We caught Y Combinator-backed Geckos stealing 2 of our CVEs. So one of them were on Olama, an open source project, another on Gradio. I've written about it in detail explaining what happened here, but let's follow this step by step. This isn't just about 2 CVEs, it's about integrity in security research. We follow responsible disclosure. They waited for our public reports, copied the PoCs, resubmitted them, and took the credit. FuzzingLabs has made some, pretty wild accusations here. And they say they found that all the pull requests submitted by Gecko to file for CVs, they were made after their original Hunter reports went public. So FuzzingLabs had apparently found these 2 vulnerabilities, reported about them first, and then they saw somebody else find the same thing and filing CVEs for it. Now, further, they're saying their blog posts were backdated. That is, Gecko Security's blog posts were backdated to appear older than they actually were. And this is, again, very serious. They have indisputable evidence that Gecko copied their proof of concepts line by line, because the fingerprints or the unique markers that FuzzingLabs had included in their POCs or proof of concept exploits, they were also found in the exploits submitted by Gecko. And there's more. Apparently this is not a one-off thing. They have done the same to other projects. If you're a security professional or working in the industry, you must have also noticed sometimes duplicate advisories, they are hard to tackle with. If 2 researchers independently identified something, publish it on the internet, or even a same vulnerability, if one source is ingesting this data from the internet, they may not always appropriately credit the source. And sometimes if 2 different resources have the same information, it becomes hard to kind of consolidate that and kind of identify which one came first. You have to look at metadata, publishing time, so many things. But what FuzzingLabs is saying is that none of that matters. Basically, Gecko outright copied their work. And again, the unique markers or fingerprints they had inserted in the POC exploits, those were found in Gecko's vulnerability reports as well. Now, Gecko Security denies wrongdoing. It says this was not intentional. Gecko Security says disappointed to see public accusations without reaching out first, especially after launching a competitive product. Because Gecko and FuzzingLabs are in the same space, security research. We work directly with maintainers via GitHub, not bug bounty platforms. And neither we nor the maintainers knew about your Hunter reports at the time, otherwise they would have been marked as duplicates. We have publicly credited FuzzingLabs for the 2 CVEs where your findings came first, and we are always happy to credit whoever finds them before we do. The claim about stolen CVEs doesn't hold up when many links you provided were already marked as duplicate or invalid on Hunter. But from the comments, it doesn't look like people are convinced. They say, what about the claim of the POCs being copied? Because I think that is really the elephant in the room. If the fingerprints were the same, right? Whatever POCs were posted by FuzzingLabs in their hunter.dev reports, if those same POCs were also found in Gecko's security reports, then there's a conflict there. Now, a lot of tension there because it's not easy to accuse someone publicly, and even if you have irrefutable evidence, right, you never know how this would play out. So I wanted to get both sides. I reached out to both Gecko and FuzzingLabs. I did not hear from Gecko, but FuzzingLabs did respond to our email. And FuzzingLabs researcher Patrick Ventuzello, I hope I said that correctly, resaid much of what the company had already discussed on social media, but he did say, however, the original sequence of events, the way this whole thing happened, CVs being filed by Gecko Security, them reposting some of the same POCs as FuzzingLabs, and backdating their own blog posts, if you look at all of that, it raises questions, broader concerns about the entire process. And further, when Gecko says that these reports were marked as duplicates, it kind of, again, it's irrelevant because the POCs, identical POCs, were found with the unique markers that FuzzingLabs had placed in them. So that's why Gecko's narrative conflicts with what FuzzingLabs is saying. So just about 23 hours ago, Gecko Security's CTO and co-founder wrote a big thread on this whole incident, addressing the attribution oversights on their part and clarifying what happened. And he maintains that this was an oversight. There's no like plagiarism going on here. He provides a lot of detail if you want to follow through. He maintains these were independent discoveries made around the automated scanning process. So basically, he's claiming both FuzzingLabs and Gecko Securities researchers found vulnerabilities around the same time, and they were not aware of FuzzingLabs' responsible disclosure coordination process. They were doing their own. So he tries to provide a lot of explanations and justifications for every CVE, and saying that their disclosures were made in good faith, and etc., etc. And specifically, Gecko Security has outright rejected the claim that the POCs were copied verbatim, which conflicts with what FuzzingLabs is saying. So a lot of stuff going on there, and FuzzingLabs has provided a lot of irrefutable evidence, as they say, in their Notion.so blog post, showing timestamps side by side and which blog post was published first. Backdated, they provide the archive link so you can see for yourself who's telling the truth. Personally, what I think, security space is tough. Like, the elephant in the room here is really the POCs. How are yours so identical to theirs? Were you like scraping data from the web? So I'm not saying Gecko did this, but any company, if you're ingesting vulnerability data from the internet, just make sure you're very specific about crediting, even if it's, many companies just don't bother crediting anyone at all, right? And this, when combined with the wrong dates, that this reads your data first, or basically any inconsistency in dates when it was actually found, that can really reflect poorly on you. So again, all of this seems like a genuine misunderstanding on both sides, but again, the elephant in the room is how are POCs so similar between two advisories? Gecko has credited the researchers. After all, if you see their updated blog posts, they have even fixed the dates on their blog posts, and their CTO has provided clarification. But moving forward, just be aware. I think this incident really stresses the nuances involved when it comes to responsible disclosure, credit, and coordination. Because I think especially in the cybersecurity space these days, you may have seen so much competition lately, so many researchers, bug bounty hunters, ethical hackers, everyone trying to find vulnerabilities. And many times it happens, one person will report a vulnerability, 15-20 days later some other person will also report it. And this triaging on the maintainer's end, whosoever, or the vendor's end, right, whosoever maintains the software, it may take easily up to 90 days. So by the time they get to that, they may easily like find one report as the original, another they may close it off as duplicate. As for the POCs, they can be similar. I'm not sure if they can ever be exactly the same as happened in this case. So you be the judge of it. If you found this overview helpful, give me a subscribe. I'm Ak Sharma, and this is the Security Report.